What's going on? It's your host with the most, TheRealTaylorNicole, and I'm back at it again with another episode for y'all. I'm bringing y'all that hot fire. I wonder, hey, in the comment section, tell me, does the quality look a little bit better? Like, does the lighting look better? Because I'm learning some stuff as I go along. I've been watching some of my videos back, and I see the quality and the lighting don't look as good. So tell me, is the lighting looking better? All right. So welcome to Movies with Tay. This is where we jump into a podcast and we discuss about movies and we talk about what happened, how it happened, and how we feel about it, right? We in here just talking that talk. Listen, few updates before we get into today's episode. One, remember, Anguish is still being pushed back. I'm going to keep saying it until I give you a release date. Two, the second channel. It's coming when Anguish, season 2 Anguish drops, that also will drop. So just know that. But the second channel drops, the second channel will be connected to me. So you'll be able to get to that channel from here. And then Anguished, of course, will be dropped on this channel. We're still doing Black History. I hope y'all prepared for the next episode that comes out next week. I hope y'all ready for it. Yeah. Now, your host with the most always loves to bring you guys some shows and some movies, and we love to talk. So before we get into it, y'all know I have to hit y'all with the Happy Friday song. So let's get into it. If you know it, sing along. It's Happy Friday. Happy Friday. I say Happy Friday. Happy Friday. I say Happy Friday. Happy Friday. I say Happy Friday. Happy Friday. I hope y'all tuning in to a happy Friday. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. I say Happy Friday. Happy Friday. I hope y'all tuning in to a happy Friday. Listen, I hope y'all been enjoying these as much as I've been enjoying bringing them to you guys. Y'all make this worth it. I really appreciate it. I really do. So we're going to be moving kind of fast in today's episode because I don't really have a lot of updates to bring y'all. So without further ado, you know how I do. I like to get into it and get right to it. So let's jump right into it, shall we? So y'all know the segment 1, introducing the film. So we're dealing with episode 49. The name of the movie is King. Running time for this movie is about 1 hour and 49 minutes long. It was released July 6, 2023. The director of this film was Wes Miller, and the producer of the film was Wes Miller and Andre Van Den Houten. You can watch this movie on BET Plus. It is a BET Plus original. You can watch it on Amazon Prime Video, Pluto TV, Sling TV. Once again, that's BET Plus, Amazon Prime Video, Pluto TV, and Sling TV. The people that we have acting in this film goes as follows. And I'm going to butcher these names, and I'm sorry. We got Naturi. I forgot how to say that name. I told y'all. Naturi. There you go. Naturi Naughton as Jaeda King. Lance Gross as Gabriel. Tobias Truvillion as Gerald King. Jason Mitchell as Sean Samuels. Nicholas Turturro as Jerry. John Messner as John. And this young lady's name that I don't want to butcher as Salami, so whatever. Y'all see the names. Y'all know I suck at saying names. But that is the cast and crew that was mainly important to the plot and the story of the movie. So I want to still keep giving shout outs to everybody that comes in, whether we come in 1 at a time, 2 at a time, or 10 at a time. I still want to thank y'all for coming in and subscribing, liking, sharing, and commenting for you, girl. I really, truly appreciate it. I really do. So without further ado, your host with the most loves to bring to you guys a good movie. So we're going to talk about this movie. We're going to talk about this movie. Just a second. Sorry about the interruption. Anyway, so let's jump right into segment 2, which is telling the film. So this is the little, I watched it on BET Plus because it's a BET Plus original, and I have a BET Plus subscription. So, yo, BET Plus, if y'all want to sponsor me, listen, I stay on BET Plus. BET Plus got all my shows, my favorite stuff, Divorce Sisters, Zatima, Miss Pat's show, DR from Detroit, It's got all my good shows on there. The Black Hamptons, Family Business. It the list go on and on. So if you ain't got BET Plus subscription, I don't know what you're doing. But anyway, the little thing on the BT Plus says, after sentencing a notorious gangster to death, Judge Jaeda King must rely on her wits, strength, and skill when her courtroom is taken over by force by prisoners and by the prisoner's brother. So the movie opens up with a typical movie. Oh, it's got to have some type of opening. Give you a little background or show you a little something about the person in question. All right. So basically, we open up, we get to see Jaeda. She's getting karate lessons from a karate master, and he kicking her ass. He teaching her self-defense, but he kicking her ass. She is losing, but she getting frustrated and she not focusing. And you kind of see that. Then after that, she goes home, gets her daughter's school clothes ready for school, and, goes to take a shower and sweat, clean off that sweat. And clearly she's married to Jaeda King. That's her husband. And you can see that they have like this marital issue. Like she's not happy in the marriage, in which you later on find that out because they start having an argument about their marriage and how there's no spark, there's no love, there's no nothing inside their marriage now. And Jada's like, expressing this to her husband, like, you don't show me any kind of love. I don't feel butterflies. I don't feel spark. I don't feel nothing when I'm with you. So, what are we doing in this marriage? And then we find out also Jada's husband don't got no job. Because you see, he was a business owner of a restaurant, but the restaurant got closed down around the pandemic. So now he ain't got no money coming in. And that's kind of what her problem is with her husband. He ain't got no money coming in, so she's kind of salty about him not having no money coming in. So they argue about that. Their daughter overhears it. She like, if y'all don't cut all that arguing out, I'm trying to sleep. I don't want to hear all that. So they stop all that arguing. She goes to work, right? She sits in her car and she's thinking. And while she's in her car thinking and pondering her lively decisions, she finally goes into the courthouse because she's a judge. She goes into the courthouse. She tries to get herself prepared for the day. But while that's going on, there's an Asian man and this black lady who approach this worker van. And the Asian man pretends like he needs help while the black lady takes out the driver. And while that's going on, Jaeda goes to try to go to the women's bathroom, but the janitor's working in the women's restroom, so she goes to the men's. Nasty. But she goes to the men's bathroom. And while she's in there, there's two other judges that come in and they're discussing about her taking over this big case, the notorious case, with this big gangster. And the other judge, Carl, makes a racial comment. He's like, these BAPs shouldn't be taking these cases. And the other dude like, what the hell is a BAP? And he's like, Black American princesses. I never knew that's what that meant, by the way. So he's like, bro, that's racist. You shouldn't say stuff like that. But Carl, like, it is what it is. I'm going to say what I want to say. Because had this been back in the day, I could have said whatever I wanted to and not suffer no consequences for it. Now I got to tiptoe around my language with people. But, he just typical racist white man. And Jaeda overhears it. So now she's got two conflicting things because Carl made a comment that Black women can't be judges because they don't know how to hand out the right calls on cases because they're incorporating their race into it. And they're especially when they're basically saying she's Black, she's going to let Black people off. It's basically what he was saying in so many ways. And she overheard it. So now she's conflicted because she don't want to seem racist and only, pin for the Black folks, but then she also don't want to seem against her people by just putting them away to make and appease the other judges of her peers, So she's faced with that problem there. Well, pause it. Now, back to what I was talking about. So now after she done heard all the racial stuff that Carl done said, she goes into her chambers and she's getting ready and preparing for her court case. Well, or her court cases, should I say. Well, while she's in her office, this guy named Duke comes in. And apparently her and Duke had a little thing back in the day when they was younger. And he's still kind of, flirting with her and, making, comments he should be making because she's a married woman. but he's also trying to quote unquote be a friend. And he's basically telling her that she know what she need to do. She need to know how to. She need to make sure she make the right call, and basically telling her to make sure she convicts this guy because he's a criminal, he's a gangster, he's wrong, and this, that, and the third. And she's pretty much like, I don't need you to tell me what to do. I got this. Now get out of my office. And he's steadily trying to, rendezvous with her, and then got the nerve to try to tell her to basically, after this court case is over, maybe we should test your desk out, take it for a ride. You know what I'm saying? He'd being real disrespectful. You know what I'm saying? And she like, ew, no sir, no thank you. She like, I might be going through marital problems, but that don't mean you can make suggestive passes at me, if you will. Well, he leaves out, right? He leaves out, and she's in there pondering about the case. Her mind is going through these different races of, her marriage and how her marriage, is in shambles. But at the same time, she's flashed back into a conversation she had with her husband about the case because she feels compelled to make the right decision, but she also feels like, which one is the right decision? Should I send him to jail? Should I let him free? You know what I'm saying? Like, she's just like, I don't want to make the wrong call, and you can clearly tell she's been down this road before, which many judges have been down this road before, where they unfortunately make the wrong call. Well, her head of bailiff, I don't know what the guy is, I forget what they call him, but this guy John comes in and he's like, yo, the court is ready, everybody's getting in place, so you ready to go? And she's like, I don't know if I want to do this, John. I've gotten so many death threats, I've gotten so many threats, I don't think I want to take this. I think I should just I think I should just reschedule the case and pass it to somebody else. And he's like, no, you're Jaeda King, you got this, you know what you're doing, you got this. And she's like, ooh, boy, I don't think so. Because she's scared. Because if I make the wrong call again, what could potentially happen now, right? So John's like, you got this, let's just get it over with, right? So she gets ready to, give up the case. And John's like, you're the youngest female, black female that is. You're the youngest judge to approach this bench in this courthouse. So don't let them intimidate you. You got this. You got this because of who you were. I watched you work your ass off for this. You got this. So after that, we get this 90-day flashback of some kind of meeting. And based on the voice, because I know this man's voice and his stature, it's Gabriel. Gabriel's hosting this little this meet and greet, and he's got this plan of attack on the courthouse. Basically, he's coming with a plan on how to attack the courthouse for some reason. We don't know what reason just yet. I mean, you can guess, but you don't know just yet. So then Jaeda is in the courtroom. She's giving Sean the opportunity to start speaking on his behalf about the case. And, he speaks on his behalf about the case, and he speaks up, and she's still like, okay, I appreciate what you said, but you were found guilty on these charges. You were found not guilty on these charges, but however, you were found guilty on the charges for first-degree murder. And because of that, she decided to go ahead and sentence him to death by lethal injection. Well, while that was going on, Gabriel ends up showing up to the courthouse with his group, his clan, his little henchmen, whatever you want to call them. He shows up with all of them, and he basically lets the security know, either y'all let us pass without any problems, or all of y'all going home in a box. So you take your pick. So while Gabriel's telling the security that, we also get another little flashback about the plan to ambush the courthouse. So you get more of a flashback, more detail about the plan to ambush the courthouse, what to do when they get in there. They, just the plan. They lay out plan, right? So now we go back to the present time where the security people kind of gave a little pushback. So now Gabriel's people shooting up everything. Pow, 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 pow. They go upstairs where Sean Samuels is being sentenced at. They shoot these two other dudes. See, here's the thing. What I didn't mention in the beginning, because I meant to tell you this. in the beginning when the Asian guy and the black lady killed and shot the repair guy. They had went to the courthouse earlier that day, and they got let in by two supposed to be security people, head of security. They let them in without ID, without anything. So that's how Gabriel knew that they was able to infiltrate at that point, because his two people was already in. So that was part of the flashback plan, and they got in. So now we're in the present time where Gabriel and his crew have showed up ambushed. Now they ambushed the courthouse. They setting up traps, booby traps and everything to keep any and everybody from getting out without them knowing, right? So soon after she gave her verdict, they all come in and ambush the courtroom. When they come in the courtroom, they come in guns ablazing, blah, 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 right? So John, Jerry was, let me go back to this too, because I'll be trying not to tell you everything, but I got to tell you this part. So John, who went to go talk to Jaeda, the head of bailiff, whatever you want to call him, he was talking to the Jerry, which is Sean's defense attorney. When they were talking, John had asked Jerry why was he so jittery and so nervous, like he's the one getting sentenced. And Jerry was, like playing it off or whatever. He told him his phone had died. So John had gave him a charger. Keep that in mind. John gave him a charger. Now, back to what I was talking about. So Jaeda, John, Jerry, and Sean all get pushed into the judge's chambers, right? They all run into the chambers, and Gabriel and his people come in, and they pretty much telling Jaeda, like, give me my brother and we'll leave. We won't hurt nobody. We won't kill nobody. Just give me my brother and we will leave. And Jade's like, sorry, can't do that. So Gabriel's like, okay. My bad, hold on. Gabriel's like, okay, so you don't want to give me my brother. How about this? I'm going to start killing people in here. So the first person he goes for is the racist guy, Carl, right? And Carl and him go face to face. And Carl says something to him, and Gabriel's like, so you don't remember my face, and you should. So I'm like, did he send you to jail or something? You know what I'm saying? So I picked that up. So I instantly went, well, what beef they got? Right? So now I'm intrigued, because what beef do y'all got? So Gabriel tells Jaeda, my bad. Gabriel tells Jaeda pretty much like, either you give my brother up, or your old good buddy Carl here gonna catch a hot one. And Jade's like, I don't really care, bro. Do what you gotta do. And Carl like, please, girl, help me. Jada like, no thank you. Can't help you, not my problem. So at this point, now Gabriel's like, okay, so you wanna play hardball. Cool. And he leaves Carl B for a second. He grabs Duke and he threatens Duke. And Duke like, I'm really not scared of you, bro. Nigga, you not scaring me. It is what it is. Like, do whatever you gotta do. So now Gabriel decides his next move is he needs to figure out if Sean's really in there or not. So they make them have a conversation. So Gabriel hears Sean's voice. He knows he's there. So now Gabriel's like, all right, phase 2. So he gets the reporter girl. He cleans her up. He tells her not to be scared. It's all right. He ain't gonna hurt her. But he tells her, I need you to type everything and record everything that's being said in here. Everything. For verbatim. And she's like, okay. So now you got Jaeda, Sean, John, Jerry, and them all inside the chambers. They decide to go ahead and try to leave. But before they do, Gabriel ended up killing Carl. So they all heard him. John, Jerry, Jaeda, and Sean all heard him, and all the people inside the courtroom witnessed Gabriel kill Carl. But we'll find out in a second what the real issue was with that. But like I said, they ended up leaving, right? So now Jaeda, Jerry, John, and Sean are all fighting against Gabriel's henchmen. They're all trying to find a way out of the courthouse without, dying, right? Well, at the same time, while they all on a little run and see Sean's pretending like he's scared. And I'm going to say pretending because to me, that's what it was. When I watched it from the jump, I'm like, hey, this nigga pretending. But he was pretending to be scared of Gabriel's henchmen, pretending like he didn't know what was going on. To me, that's what he was doing. It might not have seemed that way to most people, but to me, I feel like he was just pretending like he didn't know what was going on, but he really did. And they're running around fighting henchmen, getting away from henchmen, while Gabriel's in the courtroom holding court against Duke. Because, see, Duke is the prosecuting attorney on Sean's case. And he sent a lot of black men to prison. A lot of innocent black men at that. So now Gabriel's holding court. He's got an inmate playing the attorney against Duke and asking Duke all these questions. And every time Duke lied, Duke got somebody killed. So every time he would lie, the reporters, she got tired of him lying. She walked over to him and said, "Tell the truth. Stop lying, because you're getting people killed." And he like, "All right, fine, I'll tell the truth." So they find out, well, Gabriel ends up telling the whole courtroom that, and making Duke tell the truth, that Jaeda and Duke had a relationship that was considered inappropriate, so therefore Duke should have dismissed himself from the case. Or Jaeda should have dismissed herself from the case because they had an inappropriate relationship. And basically pointing out that they both played an illegal part and know that the case could have been corrupted, basically. And Duke, he starts telling the truth or whatever. Well, eventually, we start finding out more about Gabriel, right? So, hold on. So while they're back to John, Jaeda, Jerry, and Sean, like I said, they're fighting henchmen. John is whooping all these henchmen's ass. Jerry is no help. He don't want to help. Sean can't really help because he handcuffed. And Jaeda, well, she was acting scary. Even though she take defense karate lessons, she was acting scary. So John is doing all this fighting by himself. Well, they eventually get to this point where they're getting ready to leave out the front door, but it's a bomb in front of the front door. And John tried to get Sean to open it. Sean like, "I ain't opening that shit, man." But while they over there doing their little thing, Jaeda and Jerry are arguing. And Jerry's like, "This is your fault because you should have just let him walk free. You didn't let us do none of the stuff we were supposed to do. You didn't let me cross-examine. You didn't let me show evidence. You didn't let me do this. You didn't let me do that." And Jada's like, "Yes, I did. I gave you a fair trial." And they got to arguing back and forth. And she was like, "No." He was like, "No, you didn't." So she finally went, "Okay, maybe I didn't." Right? And she was like, I'll just reopen his case again." And Jerry like, "You should have did that in the beginning. Why do you want to do it now? It's too late now. Look what we're going through." So they argue for a little bit. And John's like, yeah, shut that shit up. Let's go. We got to go. So they continue to try to, go through the path. All the while, Gabriel still holding court on Duke's ass and making him tell the truth on everything he lied about, right? Well, like I said, Duke done lied a couple times, so he got a couple people popped, right? So they finally find one way that they think is out. Well, they run into Gabriel's head henchwoman, Salima. I think it's how you say her name. Salima. It's Salima. They run into Salima, and John and her and the two henchmen, they all having a little shootout or whatever. And she walks off, leaves the henchmen by themselves. They get killed, whatever, right? Well, they on their little run. They running through some staircases and shit like that. And well, when the henchmen pulled up, Jaeda and Sean end up getting separate from Jerry and John. So the door locked so that she couldn't get out. So they had to go find a key to get out of there while John and Jerry was in the staircase fighting all the henchmen. Well, really just John, because Jerry wasn't fighting shit. Jerry was sitting back, not helping John, not doing nothing. And John out there fighting for his life, and Jerry is not helping, which made me very suspicious of Jerry. Not only from the beginning when his ass was sweating and fidgety, but then these henchmen are trying to kill just John. They're not trying to kill Jerry. So now I'm confused, right? So John and Jerry are together now, and Sean and Jaeda are not together. Well, Sean starts explaining to Jaeda, because when they went to go look for the keys, they finally found them. And Sean explains to Jaeda that the reason why he thinks Gabriel's in there trying to set him free is because their father was convicted by Carl. The judge that Gabriel killed, their father was convicted by Carl and went to prison. And their daddy ended up killing himself in prison because he couldn't take being in prison for something he didn't do. Because Carl convicted him for a murder that he didn't commit. Even though their father was at home and had an alibi that he was at home with his kids, Carl still overturned the evidence, the proof, and everything that their daddy didn't do anything and still convicted him. And their father killed himself. So Sean was telling her he thinks that's why Gabriel's doing what he's doing, because he doesn't want his little brother to go down that same path. So she tells him that the reason why she convicted him is because a man that she didn't convict for killing somebody, she didn't convict him for it. He got free. 2 weeks later, he killed, or either a week or 2 weeks later. But basically, he ended up killing somebody else literally like a week or two after she just gave him a non-guilty verdict. So ever since then, she's super hard on everybody. If there's any cracks in the defense's case, she just automatically convicts basically at that point. If there's any signs or any point that that person can be guilty, she don't care. At that point, you're guilty. It is what it is. So her and Sean share this moment. While they're sharing a moment, John and Jerry are in the bathroom. John and Jerry are in the bathroom, using the bathroom, whatever. And John starts questioning Jerry. He starts asking me a lot of questions. He starts to kind of put pieces to the puzzle together, starts to realize he doesn't think he can really trust Jerry anymore. Because he's starting to realize, like, how did they know where we were going? How did they know what we were doing? Like, they just knew way too much about everywhere we would be and popped up. That courthouse is huge. So how did they know where we were? How did they know to get here? How did they know? You know what I'm saying? So he peeps game, but it's too late. Because as soon as he peeps game, Jerry realized he peeped game, and that same charger that John had gave Jerry earlier, he used to strangle John with, and he unalived John, right? So Sean and Jaeda finally get out of the little room that they were locked into, and they end up running back into Jerry. And Jerry's like, all right, let's get the hell out of here. The exit's right there. Let's just go. And Jadea's like, no, because Gabriel got to see me for him taking over my courtroom the way he did. He got to see me. So Jerry's like, let's go. Well, Jerry like, all right, y'all don't want to go? I'm going to go. So Jerry starts to walk out. And Selima walks up with the gun. And she's pointing it at him. He's backing up, whatever. And then they finally realize that Jaeda finally realizes that Jerry is actually on their side. And he's got his gun pointed at Sean. And he tells Sean, your brother wants to see you. And Selima's got her gun pointed at Jaeda, but Jaeda got a gun too, though. So Selima and Jaeda pointing guns at each other. Well, next thing you know, Selima and Jaeda start having a little shootout. And then Jerry and Sean start having a little fist fight. Well, once again, while all that's going on, Gabriel's still in court, forcing Duke to tell the truth about everything and come clean about everything he lied about. Well, while Jaeda and them was running through the courthouse, Jadea's husband and daughter had been trying to call her all day, but couldn't get through. They have no idea what she's going through at court right now. They don't have a clue because, see, Gabriel planned it out good. He sent the voice recording to the chief of police and told him that if you send anybody to this courthouse or make this shit public on the news, it's going to end up bad for everybody in here. So don't do it. So the chief, he listened to him to an extent, but he was like, nah, hell no, we sending our people in there. But Gabriel already had planned for that. He knew that they would come for them eventually. He knew it was going to happen. So he just was buying them time, basically. Well, Jaeda and Selima have a little shootout. They not hitting nothing. They not shooting each other. They not hitting a bullet at all. Eventually, they both basically run out of ammo. They start having a little fist fight, and Selima ends up knocking Jaeda down and temporarily knocking her out, right? And then Sean and Jerry were still having their little fight or whatever. And eventually, Selima, like I said, she had knocked Jaeda down and knocked her out. Jaeda ends up having like this little flashback moment of hearing her daddy like tell her basically like, use your power, use your strength, you got it. Just, do what you gotta do. So she snaps out of her little slumber that she was in, and she ends up unaliving Selima next. And then Sean ended up unaliving Jerry. So now they end up, winning their little battles. And Jaeda and Sean are getting ready to walk to the courtroom that Gabriel's in holding court for Duke's ass. Well, Jaeda ends up locking Sean into a little room, in a gated room, and she tells him, I'm going to go handle business. And then she takes Jerry's dead body, puts a note on his body and rolls his body into the courtroom, and it blows up. The grenade blows up on his body, blows it up or whatever. So she comes in there, guns ablazing, shooting all the henchmen up, taking everybody out. The next thing you know, Gabriel runs up on her and goes, please, please, please. He went that way, trying to trick her. She falls for it. He knocks a gun out of her hand. They start having a little fist fight or whatever. And they're in there fighting, right? And while they're in there fighting, Duke ass is over there hiding with the prisoner who was holding court with Gabriel's ass. He over there hiding. Instead of helping Jaeda, he's over there hiding. Let me tell you when Duke ass wanted to try to help, though. Duke wanted to try to help after he done knocked the hell out of Jaeda ass and get ready to try to shoot Jaeda and take her out. Now he want to come and help. But it's too damn late because he can't fight. Gabriel grabs him and yanks him up and snaps his neck like a goddamn twig. And it basically tells Jaeda, I'm going to see you later. You can handle that on your own. And he dips out to go find his brother. But see, before he snapped Duke's neck, he asked her where's his brother. And she told him, but he told her it's too late. That's when he snapped Duke's neck, took Duke out. So he goes running off, right? Leaves Jaeda alive and everything. And then the inmate dude that was holding court with Gabriel on Duke, he escapes. He leaves. He runs up out of there. And Jadea's like, this ain't over with. So Jaeda goes and chase after them. Well, they all get ready to leave out. Gabriel then had his henchmen drill this big ass hole for them to sneak out of so nobody will see them leave. And she ends up catching up to them, right? Jaeda does. She ends up catching up to them. And when she catches up to them, it's Gabe. I'm sorry, she didn't catch up just yet. Gabriel goes to unfree, gets Sean unfree, and then Gabriel sees Salima dead on the ground. They had a little touching moment, whatever. But back to what I was saying. So Jaeda ends up catching up to them, right? And Gabriel like, okay, well, you make it through these people, and then I'll see you later. So he goes on by his business. He takes his brother with him, and they leave. And the rest of the little henchmen try to fight Jaeda. Well, it didn't end well for none of them. Not the black chick that shot the dude, Hispanic man in the head. Not the Asian man who tricked the Hispanic man. None of them. And then the three little henchmen. She ended up taking all of them out, right? And because she got some moves. Jaeda got some moves. Well, once that happens, Gabe tells Sean, basically, he wants him to take the evidence that they got to show that the court system has been falsely convicting people for years, and there's a lot of people in prison who don't belong in prison. That's what he wanted. He wanted all the proof to prove a lot of people were getting arrested that shouldn't have been arrested, convicted that shouldn't have been convicted. He wanted to show all that proof to show the justice system is corrupt. So he gave it to Gabe, and he told Gabe, you gonna have to continue on with this journey. Because I believe Gabriel knew he was probably gonna die, but he knew his little brother would be the better suit. So in the end, when she catches up with him, she finds out, she ends up catching up with him again. She ends up catching up with Gabriel again. Gabe and Sean both went separate ways, right? Gabe took the maintenance man car, whatever you want to call him, the repair guy's car. He drove off. And then Sean was dressed up like the Popo, and he drove off. Well, she ended up catching up with Gabriel. Don't know how. She on foot. But she ends up catching up with Gabriel, and she ends up popping the car to Gabriel's in. It flips over, and Gabriel ends up dying. But however, before he died, he told her checkmate because she got played. Sean knew what was going on the whole entire time. She just didn't think he knew. But Sean knew. Sean knew exactly what was going on the whole entire time. See, Sean was on trial for murder, for first-degree murder. And he kept saying he didn't kill anybody. Well, from the sounds of it, he probably really did kill them people. Especially considering that Gabriel came in there guns a-blazing. Well, the movie ends up ending with us moving 6 months forward. And Jaeda is still on the hunt for Sean. Because Sean got away. She don't have a clue where Sean is. She don't know where he is in this world. But she knows he's still out there. And he is still out there. because he ends up recruiting his own people, just like his brother did. He ends up doing the same thing his brother did, recruiting his own people. Now, I don't know if he's going to go take over no courthouse, but he's recruiting people to do the same thing and do the same work that his brother recruited people to be henchmen, to be killers. So that's how the movie ends. Jaeda ends up being happily back in love with her husband, who gets his career back off the ground. They end up having a happy life, besides the fact that she can't let it go that Sean got away. So that's how the movie ends. Now that the movie has officially ended, here's a few little notes that I wanted to kind of talk to you about. My notes, right? One, I never knew that BAPS meant Black American Princesses. I don't know if that's really what that means or if that was just him being racist. But that kind of makes sense, BAPS. And is that what the movie BAPS was supposed to mean, Black American Princesses? Is that what it meant? I'm going to have to watch BAPS next because I want to know. Two, how in the hell did Jaeda, John, and Jerry and them not all hear all that gunfire in the courthouse? How did none of y'all hear the shooting? Y'all didn't hear the shooting until they came in there, guns ablazing in the damn courtroom. Another thing. Why didn't she have his case reviewed in the beginning if she felt there was an inkling that anything was fraudulent or misplaced? And why didn't you dismiss yourself from the case when you realized the prosecutor was someone you last had relations with? Or why didn't you ask the prosecutor to be dismissed? One of the two. One of y'all should have left. So Gabriel was right in the sense that she and he was wrong for still proceeding with that case, knowing that they had history together. Another thing. When the court reporter smacked the shit out of Duke, I about hollered. That was probably the funniest part in the movie. Because she walked over him and was like, tell the truth. It took me out. Because it was so corny. It was so... The movie to me is a little corny. It's a little cheesy, but it's a good movie still. I don't think... I don't know if the story about their daddy was true or not. I don't think it was false. I don't think it was... I don't know. Some about the story is kind of iffy for me. I'm not sure how true the story was. But I honestly... don't think, I think that Gabriel really didn't even really do what he did just to get his brother free. I think he did it so he can get revenge on the man that put their father behind bars, Carl. I think that's because if the story is true, I think that's the real reason why he wanted it, because he didn't have to kill Carl. He picked him out of everybody. He already knew he was going to kill that man. He already knew he was going to kill that man. So to me, it was a revenge thing. You just wanted to take out the man who put your father behind bars, in my opinion. Another thing, they petty as hell. Cause when Gabe and Jaeda was fighting, Gabe asked what happened to Salima, and Jaeda was like, "Are you mean what she say? She said something about you mean that bitch with the stiff ass wig or something like that, with something about her hair." It was hilarious. But what I was going to say before that, because I just thought about that, they petty as hell for having her roll Jerry's body into the courtroom and blowing him up, and then having his suit jacket fly in the air and lay down. It wasn't even blown up, wasn't torn up, nothing. They petty for that. Oh, she said, you mean that bitch with the whack hair? That's what she said. That was hilarious. Because how you getting choked out talking about somebody's hair? That's what took me out. I don't get how Jaeda didn't realize that Gabriel, because didn't you see who it was that came in your courtroom? So when he came down there trying to please me, please, he went the other way. How did you let that work on you? How? I know there was a lot going on, but ain't no way here you gonna tell me that you didn't realize that was the man you were just talking to. And the final thing from my notes was the movie was a good movie, but some of these parts in the movie was kind of corny. Like the scenes with the chief, it was corny to me. Really didn't need it, to be honest with you. It was all the scenes with the chief, the ending part where he got taken out of his office, the part where he got the phone call and wasn't really talking to nobody. The point, like a lot of that corny shit, they could have left out because we didn't need all that. That was like 10 minutes worth of movie time we didn't need. Y'all could have took that out. But with that, and some of the fight scenes was cheesy as hell too, corny as hell. But whatever. It is what it is. But with that, I'm going to go ahead and conclude the film. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. And the reason why I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10, even though some of the parts of the movie was corny to me, it actually was a good movie. Because it had a small little bit of a plot twist. and it also had a little bit of reality about the justice system in it. And not even a little bit, a lot of reality about the justice system was in this movie. So I had to give it a 9 out of 10 because they were aiming to point out how people are wrongfully convicted and how it is easy for a judge to make the wrong call, whether it's letting somebody go free or putting somebody away behind bars. And I feel like this movie was just basically trying to show that at the same time, just by making a entertaining movie altogether. And that might not have been the original goal, but to me, that's what the overall movie showed, is that the justice system can be very corrupt, and you have people who make bad decisions by accident and people who just purposely make fucked up decisions, like Carl, like Duke. You know what I'm saying? That's what the movie to me was showing. So with that being said, like I said, I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10. It was a good movie. Argue with your mama. I stand on what I said. But without further ado, your host of the most wants to thank you guys for tuning in with me, as you always have been. Make sure you guys like, comment, share, and subscribe. I really gladly appreciate it. Stay blessed, stay humble, stay faithful, and peace out. That's the end of the show. Gotta get the hell on out, 'cause I gotta go.